we're going to do our decrease. We're going in the second stitch, and we're just going to complete a regular single crochet. Now, on the outside, you can't see it because it just looks like another single crochet. So I'll show you again. We're going to single crochet 5. 5. And then we're going to skip this stitch, right? Because we're decreasing. So we're going to skip this one and we're going to go right into this one here. And just complete a regular single crochet. You can see here, you don't really see it on the outside, which is great. Front loops of the two? Not usually. The invisible decrease, as I've learned it, is you're skipping a stitch. So this one where you go into the front loops, and then you go into this front loop, and then you yarn over, pull through both, yarn over, pull through one. I would say that's still stitch 2 together, because you're still putting both of them into one single crochet, but it's a different version of stitch 2 together. This is the kind of decrease that I only use when I'm stitching in both loops. Because I only crochet in the back loop. So if I were to do that, it would look a little weird on the outside of my work to do it that way. Five, and then we're going to decrease again. Yeah, because the stitch just kind of disappears, right? It's kind of hard to see where the decrease is. Which is why I think it's called the invisible one. Oh, what is this? Have they changed it? Your Fitbit thinks you're walking while you're folding laundry? Oh, nice. My Fitbit thinks I'm sitting while I'm doing laundry, and it's not wrong, but it's not counting as steps. I like your Fitbit a lot better than mine. I'd rather it think I'm doing steps. So this row we're gonna finish. It's just stitch 5 single crochets and a decrease. We have to get down to 36 stitches. And then a decrease. And because we're making this tapered look, this teardrop shape for the body of the Cyndaquil, we are now going to, now that we've done a decrease row, we are going to do just a row of single crochets around. Actually, we're going to do 2 based on my instructions that I've made. Because I still wanted him to have a bit more pudge. Because friend-shaped is always good. So we'll complete just 2 rows of just single crochets around. No increasing, no decreasing. Just straight crochet. Parts. I am from Western Canada. I'm in Western Canada. Little Fox. Hello, hello. How are you doing? You're all right? That's good to hear. How am I? I'm doing great today. Get to spend the day with you guys, going over some tips and tricks for crocheting and how to start. And then later today, I'm going to hang out with some more girlfriends. And we're going to do an IRL crochet class. They're both wanting to learn how to crochet. So I'm going to teach them how to crochet. That's cool. You're from England. Oh, from across the pond. Hello, hello. Welcome in. What am I crocheting? You're also from England. Oh, everybody from the across the pond is coming. So I'm making a Cyndaquil. So we made a shiny Cyndaquil. We're going to be making some not shiny Cyndaquils. I like to do them in batches. So right now we're working on a body. And we're going over the decreasing area here. Yeah, so we're just talking about stacking versus not stacking your increases and decreases in your amigurumi work. It does make it look a little different, which is really nice. Some people prefer having not stacked increasing and decreasing, which is where you put them sequentially in the same spot on each row. So what that looks like, I can show you the example here, is I've stacked the decreases. You can see it creates this kind of line. When you stack the increases again, it creates this kind of line here. Not a lot of people like that look. They want something more smooth, something more uniform. So that's, like this one here, we didn't stack our increases, so you don't really see a straight line from where the increases are. Same thing's going to be on this side when we don't stack our decreases. You're going to see that there's no line, which a lot of people don't like. Oh, very cool. I've never been to, it's on my list of places to go, is I would like to travel through England. It's on the list. And then I want to take the Eurostar into France. Geography. Is Buckinghamshire part of London? You know, I don't think I know either. Greater London. Yeah, so like here we have Vancouver, but it's part of the Greater Vancouver Regional District, which includes the other sides outside of it. So it could just be like that, similar. You whip out Google. Right. Google Sensei, please teach me your ways. All right, so that's 2 rows around. As you can see, it's slowly starting to bring in the piece of work. So this is a row. Oh, we're on a 10-minute break. If you're following along on the Pomodoro, you've now entered your 10-minute break for you to stretch and hydrate. I'm going to keep going. We are going to do a staggered decrease now. So this is an even row. So it's single crochet 4 and a decrease, which means we can break up our single crochets. Google Sensei, yeah. Google Sensei doesn't notice me all the time. You also have that's right, you do have parishes. All right, so we're going to break up this row, but they will be reunited on this side of the stitch marker. So we're only going to crochet 2, and then we're going to do our decrease. And then for the rest of the row, we're going to single crochet 4, decrease 5 times. So 1 short of the normal 6 for the row. Because we're going to finish off that 6th one here. And decrease. That's 1. 2. 3. 5. Oh, no, 4. I just really wanted it to be finished. All right, and 5. And now that we've gotten to the end of the row, you can see that we still have 2 stitches left, and that's to complete this single crochet 4 decrease that we started in the beginning. So you're just going to do your 2 single crochets there. And just like that, you've staggered your decrease. It's gone from where it would have normally been to over here. That way you don't get that weird line that shows up. And then we're going to single crochet around 1 because we want a tapered teardrop look instead of a round ball. So by breaking up your decreasing with just rows of single crochet around, you're going to slowly elongate that into like a teardrop shape. Hearts, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate that. While we want him round, we do not want him to be a ball. I learned the other day that in German, Cyndaquil is actually fire hedgehog. Which is interesting because I believe here we say it's more like a shrew because of the long pointed snout. You're doing all the chores today? GG's in it. I'm so proud of you. Gray clouds. Typical. Same here. It was sunny and then it's cloudy. Yesterday it was like super rainy and then super sunny. And I was like, could you just make up your mind? So after we've done that row of just single crochets around, we are going to do another decrease row. It is an odd number, so we are just going to do it as normal, which is going to be a single crochet 3 decrease 6 times. That way we can have 24 stitches. Sometimes your stairs make noise. Did you know that there is a castle? Sure. In Japan called the I think it's called the Nightingale Castle, and the stairs and the floorboards purposefully are made to make noise. They sound like nightingales. They chirp. And that was so that the lord of that castle could not be assassinated. because you couldn't walk on the floorboards or climb the stairs without it making noise. It was a security feature. Now it's just considered haunted and creepy. But back then, the height of security. They just make weird creaky noises every so often. Old houses be like that. The slightest breeze. Again, we're going to interspace this with just a row of single crochet around, because we want that tapered teardrop shape as opposed to like a cylinder or a cone. If you don't interspace it, it won't have the gentle decrease. It'll end up being more triangular, more straight edges for the decreases. So we are going to interspace this with another single crochet around because we don't want it to be that harsh. But if you're trying to make a cone, just straight decreasing every row will get you a cone shape. Not loud enough, though. Oh, to be like an alarm system? Yeah. I thought it was really cool when I was reading about that one castle. Like, oh. It apparently sounded like nightingales. Oh, that was pretty cool. No sneaking around in that house for midnight snacks. Alright, and this is going to be our second to last row of decreasing, just because we still want him to have a decent size neck. So this one is going to be an even one, so it's single crochet 2 decrease. So we are going to break that up in the beginning so that we've staggered our decreases. Probably hear people, yeah, I'm sure you'd still probably hear people walking up them. You can usually hear your neighbor. So we're going to single crochet 1, and then we're going to do the decrease. And then we're going to go back to single crochet 2, decrease 5 times. And then we will end the row with just 1 single crochet. That way it is indeed staggered. It's a lot of messages. And then we'll finish off the body by just doing 1 round of single crochets all the way around. That'll give it a really nice neck shape for when you sew it together. Yeah, terracing houses does save space. So if you need to fit more of your population into like a city center, terraced houses are the way to go. Especially if the land cannot support the weight of like a multi-story condo building. Not all the time can the land support, yeah, exactly, the multi-story buildings. Where I am, there's a place, it's called Delta. It is not actually built on a delta, but it can't support buildings over a certain height. Otherwise, they start sinking. So, you know. And then, obviously, because this is where you're going to be sewing the head to, you want to leave a tail for sewing. I never know how long to leave the tail, so I always leave too much. But I'd rather have too much than too little. And that, chat, is that. So now you've got staggered increases, staggered decreases, interspaced with rows of single crochet around to give you a teardrop shape, and no stitch line for where your increases are. So if you're selling a finished product like this, and someone buys it to rip off your pattern, it is much more difficult for them to do it this way than it would be for them to do it this way. Because here they can clearly see where the increases are. And by doing that, they can see where the row begins. So they know how many rows you've got, where your increases are. Whereas this one, it takes a lot more work to rip off a pattern from a product with your staggered increases and decreases. Now, it looks like it's got bumps, but that's only because it's not stuffed right now. Once you stuff it, that goes away. Let me clear all these messages. My goodness, why are there so many? Ished, emailed. Ah, yes. Chaos. Yes, time for chaos. Yeah, you don't want your buildings to sink. Yeah, that's bad. People also sell patterns. Yes. So some people will sell patterns. I myself do not sell patterns. So I have had some people come up and maybe not so discreetly whisper to the person next to them that they're only buying my product to take the pattern. The number one item that they've said that on is my Squirtle. They're like, oh, well, I can buy this and then we'll make the pattern and then you can make some more. And it's like, love-hate patterns. Yeah, right? You start with and then skim over the rest, which is why you don't buy them. I have a huge queue of patterns to make. It'd be fine for personal use, but not if you're planning on selling them, right? And most of them are planning on selling them, which is the unfortunate part. Like, I have my really cute Pumpkaboo is done with the fuzzy yarn. But yeah, I've had people be like, oh, you used fuzzy yarn. Do you have the pattern? And I'll be like, no. Be like, oh. And then their friend will be like, well, can't you just get it and then copy the pattern? And they're like, well, no, because it's fuzzy yarn. It's hard to count stitches. And it's like, guys, you could be a little bit more discreet. I'm standing right here. The other one, let me show you the Squirtle. This is the number one Pokemon that I make. That people are like, I can buy that and take the pattern. Here's my Squirtle. Yeah. So a lot of, when I make them this size, they're like, yeah, do you sell the pattern? And I'm like, no. And they're like, oh. And then some of them will be like, well, how about we just get one? And then someone's like, well, you can count the stitches, right? Yeah, so it's a dog-eat-dog world out there in the crochet community. And obviously, Squirtle's basic shapes, the pattern would be fairly easy to copy off of counting stitches off of a product. I know that the shell covers some of it, but you can tell just by the front, like what a repeating pattern is where it's just single crocheted around once you've got the eye for it. So it would be really easy to rip off the pattern when you buy the product. And I don't sell my patterns. I usually make, for the Pokemon, I usually make all the patterns myself. But I haven't written the pattern in a way that is clear and concise enough that I would be comfortable selling it. You usually find the free patterns and change them or use what you make for personal use, like birthday presents. Yeah. But people who make a profit off of others' work is just messed up. It is. It is. And there's a big movement. There's a big thing going on right now. Maybe it's always gone on, but it's been brought to light a lot more recently, is that people are buying the patterns. When you make a pattern, people are buying them. Or they're not buying them and that they're claiming that the pattern is theirs and they're re-releasing it either for free or incomplete. And then the artist who's put the work into making that pattern, like they'll steal your pictures and stuff, is not getting the credits. So we just had one of my friends in the crochet community has a really, really nice hooded cowl pattern that a lot of people have been ripping off lately, in terms of saying that the pattern is theirs, or they've been stealing the pictures and then only releasing like an AI generated pattern, which doesn't make anything. Unfortunately, it's really sad people are getting scammed that way. So eventually I would like to release the patterns, but only once I'm comfortable that the pattern I've written is legible. You know, like you can read it easily. The instructions and the pictures are complete. But again, nervous because rip-offs happen. The dino is copied so much? Yeah. That it's like following a cooking recipe and that it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't if the proper credit is given. The dino with the stripes? Oh, the T-Rex. Yes. Yeah, that one's done quite a bit. So if you are following a recipe and you have dinner guests over and they go, "Oh my gosh, I love this apple pie," you wouldn't say that you're the one who invented the recipe of the apple pie. You'd be like, "Oh, I got it out of this cookbook." And by saying that, the designer of the recipe gets credited for the apple pie. Now, if you take your crochet work and you follow the instructions, you've made the thing, you sell it. "Oh my God, did you make this?" Well, yes, you made this, but are you going to then say, "Yeah, I made this myself. The pattern is from crochet artist"? You're not. You're going to say, "Yes, I made this." That means the crochet artist who came up with the recipe/instructions is not being credited. Fairy Dust, how's it going? It's going good. How are you doing? You tried to sell patterns, but it wasn't understandable to anyone but you. See, that's where I'm at right now, hearts. That's where I'm at right now. All of my patterns, I can read 90% of the time. There are some patterns, like Vaporeon, where I didn't know what I did, and I can't recreate it. So I had to rewrite Vaporeon. But yeah, I'm working on making my patterns more user-friendly so that everyone can use them. But when you take your finished product to sell it, you're not going to have a little tag that says "made by me, patterned by crochet artist." Little Fox, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate that. You often forget where you got the pattern from? Like, same. If I follow patterns for specific things, if it's a one-off, I usually don't remember which pattern it is. I have